In March 1975, J.P. Narayan famously said, quote, "If you are fascists, then so am I," unquote. He was addressing a Jan Sangh conclave in Delhi, attended by the RSS and Jan Sangh cadre with their leaders. And these words gave the RSS much needed validation. It helped cleanse its image in the public eye after Gandhi's assassination. The stain had persisted despite getting a clean sheet from the Supreme Court. Months later, in June 1975, the Congress lost the election in Gujarat, failing to get a majority. This was one of the earliest instances of a hung verdict in India. On June 12th of 1975, the Allahabad High Court had ruled against Indira Gandhi on charges of election fraud. The Supreme Court also rejected her plea, challenging the High Court verdict. That's when JP, in a speech in Delhi on June 25th, urged the police and military to not follow Indira's orders. That day, a few minutes before midnight, the president declared the emergency. And this was on Indira Gandhi's behest. It was ratified by the parliament the next day.
राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है। इससे आतंकित होने का कोई कारण नहीं है।
तुझे प्रणाम। 1, 2, 3। हिंदू भूमि सुखं वर्धितोहम।
भारत को अखंड होना है।
विशेषता ये नहीं है कि लोग सामान्य हैं कि असामान्य हैं। विशेषता ये है कि सामान्य लोगों ने असामान्य काम करके दिखाया।
RSS has been in my life since I was born.
Giving priority to Shakha work or activities was encouraged and desired above all else.
मीडिया में नहीं जाना, प्रचार में नहीं जाना, अपने काम के ऊपर फोकस करना, ये संघ का बुनियादी विचार रहा है।
What they are very good at is what I would call the duplicity of public appeal.
Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, who in many ways disliked the RSS and hated Golwalkar.
Like Hedgewar, Deoras saw the divide among the Hindus as the main problem for the RSS to solve. But for him, the primary reasons for this were caste and economic inequality. Since childhood, he had shown fierce opposition to its practice, even at his own home. And he challenged it again as RSS chief. Here's Bhanwar Meghvanshi, who I spoke to, another ex-Swayamsevak, on his experience of caste discrimination in the organization. And I must add, he's one of the most brilliant and articulate people I have spoken to.
मैं एक प्रमुख वजह जिसकी वजह से मैंने छोड़ा वो ये था कि 1991 मार्च में राम मंदिर सौंपो या गद्दी छोड़ो एक आंदोलन चल रहा था और उसमें भीलवाड़ा में जो रैली निकल रही थी उस पर पुलिस की गोलीबारी हुई और उसमें 2 लोग मारे गए। उनके अस्थि कलश का यात्रा जिले में घुमाया गया था और वो अस्थि कलश यात्रा मेरे घर में आई, लेकिन मेरे घर में बने हुए खाने को वहां बैठ कर के खाने से अस्थि कलश यात्रियों, विश्व हिंदू परिषद के लोगों और संघ के लोगों ने मना कर दिया। वो पैकिंग करके खाना वहां से ले गए और रास्ते में ले जाके फेंक दिया उन्होंने और कहीं और जाकर के किसी शर्मा जी के यहाँ जाकर के उन्होंने खाना बनवा के खाया रात में। और जब इस घटना का मुझे पता चला तो मैंने उनके साथ इस बात को लेकर के सवाल किया कि मैं आपके लिए अयोध्या में जाके मरने के लिए तैयार हूं और आप मेरे घर का खाना खाने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। तो ये फिर एक बड़ा विवाद बना और अंत में मेरी वहां कहीं कोई सुनवाई हुई नहीं और उल्टा उन्होंने मुझे ही समझाया कि मैं एक छोटी सी बात, बहुत मामूली बात को बहुत बड़ा बात बना रहा हूँ। तो इसको लेकर के फिर अंत में मैंने संघ को छोड़ दिया।
So let me make this clear. The RSS camps and events do not contain caste identifiers, and there is no advantage or disadvantage based on one's caste identity. You don't even know it. But this does not mean caste does not exist within the RSS. It lives in the shadows, unacknowledged and invisible. Or should I say, it lives with the people. They might not show it, and I speak this from a personal experience. They behave well within the event and camps and Shakha, but in their personal lives, they still practice it.
Some do.
Yeah. And it's not treated like a problem to be solved.
So it's a lot like regular Indians who don't believe in caste but don't want their child to get married outside.
The privilege of unacknowledging caste.
Right. Here's Ram Madhav from our 2013 interview.
The 60s, they launched this program of mobilizing Hindu saints to declare that untouchability is a sin. They got Hindu saints to come on one platform and declare that in this country, untouchability is a big sin. This was a great revolution for Hinduism in 20th century, which Babasaheb Ambedkar, Mahatma Gandhi all wanted.
Modi was building his image as part of his bid to be the BJP's new leader. The RSS was using its vast network to gauge the mood of its cadre on the ground. What it found was overwhelming. Modi was a favourite among its cadre and even the public, seen as a strong, decisive, development-focused politician. All that information leading up to the election lined up with the mood that had been building within the Parivar, that Modi be nominated as the next prime ministerial candidate of the BJP. But it was easier said than done. The BJP leadership was unimpressed by these ideas. Advani in particular, because it was his time to be PM now. And that in itself was surprising. For the BJP to go against the RSS ethos by resisting a change in leadership. The RSS made many painstaking yet unsuccessful attempts to bring in a consensus for a change in BJP leadership before the 2014 general election.
So, the RSS took charge. During the BJP's national executive meet in Goa in 2013, Narendra Modi was nominated as the BJP's PM candidate for the upcoming elections. This, despite open displeasure from Advani and other senior BJP leaders like Sushma Swaraj, Murli Manohar Joshi, and longtime ally Nitish Kumar, all of whom preferred Advani over Modi. This could not have been possible without the nod from the RSS. And in the run-up to the election and during the election itself, the RSS machinery worked openly and in unison to script an overwhelming BJP victory.
भाइयों बहनों, आपका प्यार मेरे सर आंखों पर।
The BJP won by a margin that took many people by surprise. But it was Modi's popularity, coupled with the Sangh Parivar's formidable organizational strength, that led to a single-party majority government at the centre, after a really long time. Mainstream media has covered at length the hows and whys of Modi's 2014 win. Several people have written several books. But one less acknowledged reason is Modi being a pracharak, and the meaning and weight this carries for people within the Parivar. Since then, the RSS has taken a much more active role in the electoral process, with a hands-on approach on the ground. It stands shoulder to shoulder with the BJP, participating in electoral strategy and smoothing differences within the government and between its affiliates. There is no denying that after almost 8 years of BJP in power, there are increasing instances of majoritarian violence by Hindu interest groups aligned with the RSS. And whether it's being garlanded by elected officials or inaction from law enforcement, members of these groups who indulge in violent acts also enjoy political patronage, which extends to protection from the legal system as a whole.
The question is, will the RSS take responsibility? Or will it stick to its playbook and claim it plays no role in these quote-unquote fringe groups? Given the clear and obvious ties between the RSS and BJP, can the RSS get away with washing its hands off the BJP's social, political and economic failings? And can the BJP ever go against the RSS's fundamental ethos, either for political ambition or to meet the demands of the electorate?
Here's Hartosh Singh Bal of the Caravan magazine on how the RSS exerts its political will through the BJP.
Bhagwat has publicly contradicted the stance of this government, including Modi, on any major issue. Can you tell me one instance where Modi has gone and challenged a view of the RSS or ever taken it on head-on something that the RSS has taken a stand on? Do you think Modi even dares to do that? Modi is in the end just Swayamsevak. I'm saying it is basically the BJP is the political wing of the RSS. Modi is the head of the political wing. He has considerable liberty in many areas. But when it comes to governance, what has he achieved? He has done administratively nothing. The only things he has achieved that will count as achievements in his eyes are the things that he's done for the RSS.
That was just a sneak peek because this episode is behind a paywall. If you want to hear the entire episode and more amazing podcasts like Let's Talk About and NL Hafta, subscribe to News Laundry. Support independent media, support News Laundry.
We, being an independent platform, depend on our readers, viewers, and listeners. Support independent media by subscribing to News Laundry. Go to newslaundry.com, click on the subscribe button at the top, and pay to keep news free.